Friday, June 9. From The Great Controversy, page 582, we read, "From the very beginning of the great controversy in heaven, it has been Satan's purpose to overthrow the law of God. It was to accomplish this that he entered upon his rebellion against the Creator, and though he was cast out of heaven, he has continued the same warfare upon the earth. To deceive men and thus lead them to transgress God's law is the object which he has steadfastly pursued. Whether this be accomplished by casting aside the law altogether or by rejecting one of its precepts, the results will be ultimately the same. In seeking to cast contempt upon the divine statutes, Satan has perverted the doctrines of the Bible, and errors have thus become incorporated into the faith of thousands who profess to believe the Scriptures. The last great conflict between truth and error is but the final struggle of the long-standing controversy concerning the law of God. Upon this battle we are now entering, a battle between the laws of men and the precepts of Jehovah, between the religion of the Bible and the religion of fable and tradition." End of quote. As we have seen, the concept of Christ as Creator is at the very heart of Sabbath worship. Jesus consistently underlines the significance of the day of which he calls himself the Lord in Matthew 12:8, "For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath," in Mark 2:28, "Therefore the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath," and in Luke 6 and verse 5, "And he said to them, The Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath." The Sabbath is an eternal reminder of our identity. It reminds us of who we are as human beings. It places worth on every human being. It constantly reinforces the idea that we are created beings and that our Creator is worthy of our allegiance and worship. This is the reason why the devil hates the Sabbath so much. It is the golden link that unites us with our Creator, and this is why it will play such a crucial role in the final crisis at the end. And that brings us to our final two questions, our two discussion questions. Number one, what are the basic principles behind the sea beast claim to authority? In what ways can those same attitudes be lodged in our hearts without our knowledge? And two, how do you respond to those who argue that the idea of a literal Satan is a primitive superstition that educated or at least intelligent people can't take seriously? What arguments could you use in response? And now for Inside Story with Sibylla. Thank you, Sibylla.
I Can't Do This by Andrew McChesney. The party sounded perfect. A table was booked at a club in Harare, Zimbabwe. Alcohol was purchased and people were invited. But Elder didn't come. What happened? Hubert asked when he later saw his friend. "I can't do this," Elder replied. "I am an elder." Hubert had heard the explanation before. He and Elder had become friends while teaching at a high school in Harare. 19-year-old Hubert was taking off a year to teach before entering the university. Elder was 25 and an elder at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Hubert partied, but Elder would not participate. He always explained, "I can't do this, I'm an elder." Hubert had never met an Adventist before, and he thought, this guy is true to his church. But he declined Elder's invitations to go to church. The next year, Hubert enrolled at Midlands State University in Guru. He kept remembering Elder, and he visited an Adventist church for the first time. The people were warm and friendly, and the sermon touched his heart. During the semester break, he went to another Adventist church while visiting an aunt. It got to the point that every time he saw a church, he wanted to go inside. He felt like something was missing from his spiritual life. For his second year of studies, Hubert received a scholarship to study in Russia. He wondered whether he would find an Adventist church there. One day, he was drunk when Mildred arrived at the birthday party of a mutual friend at 8 p.m. in Moscow. "Why did you come so late?" he asked. "I was at church," Mildred said. "But it's Saturday," Hubert said. "Church is on Sunday." "Well, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist," she said. Hubert couldn't believe his ears. Mildred saw his interest and invited him to go to church the next Sabbath. She even waited for him in the metro station on Sabbath morning. But Hubert was embarrassed that she had seen him drunk and did not show up. When she called to see where he was, he found himself saying, "I'm sorry, I'll come next Sabbath." Mildred called him throughout the week to remind him of his promise. He accompanied her to the Moscow International Seventh-day Adventist Church on Sabbath. A year later, Hubert gave his heart to Jesus in baptism. He contacted Elder and thanked him for being faithful. Elder was overjoyed. Today, Hubert Nobadza is an active church member. "I am thankful to God that he led me to the Seventh-day Adventist Church," he said. This story illustrates spiritual growth objective number 5 of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's I Will Go strategic plan, to disciple individuals and families into spirit-filled lives. For more information, visit iwillgo2020.org.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.